Hello everyone, it's Anton on the go here, and I'm currently at Pearson International Airport in Toronto, waiting to board my next flight on my next vacation for the summer. And welcome, as I literally journey across the globe in search for the most beloved woman in history. She came to fame as a Jewish teenage mother and is revered not only by Catholics, but also by Muslims, Orthodox, and different Protestant denominations. As the woman who nursed the Son of God, she was also the one who prompted him to perform the first miracle when the wedding guests were running out of wine. She has also been featured in many magazines such as Time, and on the December 2015 issue of National Geographic, award-winning writer Marian Apparition and photographer Diana Markosian teamed up together to write a cover story for this most beloved woman, whom they call as the most powerful woman in the world. So we're looking at the original pop star here, the one who said "Let It Be" before the Beatles wrote their hit song. She's inspired more literature, art, and music than any other hundreds of women combined in history. And even though it's been a little over 2,000 years, she's more alive than ever today. So this woman is no other than the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of God, and our Mother. So join me now as I travel across Egypt, France, and Japan in this first season as I go to some of the many places where the Blessed Virgin has touched the lives of many, whether from the domes of a church, to a hidden Parisian street where she fashioned a medal, to a wooden statue in northern Japan, or even through some of the most devastating and darkest moments in history. So join me as I go in search for the Virgin Mary.
Don't worry, I can still take you ship it.
Egypt, home to one of the world's most famous ancient civilizations, and to monuments belonging to majestic pharaohs such as the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx, to name a few, is a country rich in history and culture. Its bustling capital city, Cairo, ranks among the largest cities in the world by population and is sometimes called the cultural capital of the Arab Middle East. As one of the largest cities in Africa and in the Arab world, Cairo has also stood for more than 1,000 years on the same site on the banks of the Nile River, primarily on the eastern shore, and winds and cuts through Egypt's largest city. Islam has been Egypt's official state religion since the 7th century. But despite being a predominantly Muslim country, Egypt is home to a large Christian minority, the Coptic Orthodox Christians. According to Coptic tradition, the Christian church was founded in Alexandria by Saint Mark in the 1st century, and after the fall of Rome, Egypt became part of the Byzantine Empire until the Arabs arrived in the 7th century. The history of Christianity here in Egypt is steeped in history, but what the Coptics take great pride in especially is the fact that the Holy Family lived here for quite some time after they escaped Herod's edict and wrath, as stated in the Gospel of Matthew. There is a path here which the Christians believe was the route taken by the Holy Family as they arrived and traveled across Egypt. This has also been recognized as a historical site by the local government. Now, not to mention that Egypt's important role in the Bible, from the book of Exodus with the stories of Joseph and Moses, are well known. Less familiar to Christians outside of Egypt, however, is the remarkable series of Marian Apparitions that occurred in the district of Zeitoun in the suburbs of Cairo during the late 1960s until the early 1970s. For this segment of In Search of the Virgin Mary, come with me to the streets of Cairo as I delve into one of the most confounding Marian apparitions in history. This is the story of when millions saw the Blessed Virgin Mary. Hello everyone, it's Anton on the go. So we are finally here in Egypt, in Cairo, in bustling and boiling hot Cairo. It's been one crazy journey, coming from Jordan especially. But today I want to share you a very special story and a very special segment of my vlog. This is a story that occurred over 50 years ago. It concerns this church which is behind me, St. Mary's Coptic Orthodox Church here in Cairo. So to place everything first in context, it's important to remember that in 1967, roughly a year before the Marian apparitions began, Egypt had been defeated by much smaller Israel in the Six-Day War, leading to the Israeli occupation of the Sinai Peninsula and the deaths of some 2,000 Egyptian troops. So the Muslim majority was depressed after losing the Six-Day War with Israel, and this failure had an unfortunate impact on the attitude towards local Christians. Okay, so Islamic fundamentalists grew in strength, and the followers of Christ were increasingly attacked by extremists. So the Copts especially expected the worst, okay, with reports saying that fundamentalists even began painting red crosses on the doors of Christian homes to mark them. Okay, so this was a very difficult period, especially for the Christians here in Egypt, and Egypt as a nation in general. Our story begins on the evening of Tuesday, April 2nd, 1968, at around 8:30 p.m. A group of Muslim workmen employed by the public transport system had just arrived at their garage, which is opposite the Church of St. Mary. Built in 1925, this church is believed to be one of the sites where the Holy Family had rested as they fled from Herod. As rush hour was over, the only sign of activity in the vicinity was a solitary car and a couple of women pedestrians in the lamplit street nearby, waiting to cross. It was Farouk Mohammed Atwa who first noticed an unexpected movement on the middle dome of the church, which eventually also caught the attention of the women crossing the street. Atwa signaled to his co-workers who were sipping their evening tea and stared in mute disbelief at what seemed to be a white lady kneeling beside the cross at the top of the dome. Their agitated whispering turned to alarm as they believed it was a woman about to commit suicide. Atwa is said to have pointed with a bandaged finger which was due to have amputated the next day as a result of gangrene. He cried out, "Lady, don't jump! Don't jump!" Impelled by a sense of desperation, he dashed off to call the fire brigade and ran across the street to summon the local priest. At that moment, the lady rose to her feet, revealing herself to be a luminous woman dressed in shimmering robes of light. The small, bewildered crowd became confused, and right there and then, a flight of glowing white doves appeared from nowhere and hovered around the apparition. Everyone present realized that this was no ordinary woman. It was the Blessed Virgin Mary. One of the women below cried out, "Setena Mariam, Our Lady Mary," and hardly had her cry escaped her lips when the extraordinary tableau faded into the night sky, leaving the spectators stupefied and speechless. The following day, when Atwa arrived at the hospital for his operation, the surgeon was astonished to find his finger completely healed. This was the first known miracle in Zeitoun. So hello everyone. I have to talk in a soft tone because we are inside here at St. Mary's Coptic Orthodox Church. Now here with me is Dr. Adel Noshi. He works here at the church and he was very kind enough to give his time for us for this vlog here today to tell a bit about the story of what happened here in Zeitoun, here in St. Mary's Orthodox Church. So Dr. Noshi, so what happened here in Zeitoun in 1968?
In 1968 to April, St. Mary appears on above this church, and many people saw her. The guard of the bus station in front of us saw her, and he told the priest Constantine Musa that there is one trying to make a suicidal attempt above the church. The priest come, and when he saw this appearance, he said that this is Virgin Mary. Then Pope Kyrillos VI, the Patriarchs of Orthodox on these days, he sent one of the bishops to make sure from the appearance of St. Mary, and the bishop says that he saw the appearance of Virgin Mary above the church. Also, the President Gamal Abdel Nasser came, and one building in front of us, beside the bus station, he went there and saw the appearance and make sure that Virgin Mary appeared on these days. And he donates the bus station land for the church to make a big cathedral of Virgin Mary. The building began on 1976 and was finished on 1989.
Our Lady would appear constantly in the following nights and weeks. Her visits were said to last from a few seconds to as long as 8 hours. She would usually appear during feast days, and as expected, word spread throughout Cairo and thousands of people began to crowd around the small church on Toman Bay Street, hoping to get a glimpse of the Blessed Mother. The crowds became so big that it is estimated that during one night, as much as 250,000 or 250,000 people saw Mother Mary. People from all walks of life and backgrounds witnessed the apparitions, including Catholics, Orthodox, Protestants, Muslims, Jews, believers and non-believers alike. By 1971, when the apparition ceased, it is believed that over 1 million people had seen the Virgin. And as mentioned, even the president at the time saw the apparitions himself, which stunned and moved him deeply. And every time the Blessed Mother would appear, people would cheer, sing, push, and shout prayers towards her. The Marian Apparitions became the talk of Cairo, where local newspapers published numerous photos of the apparitions, and Egyptian television even broadcasted live video footage of the events. News of the story eventually became international, where even the New York Times even published the story on May 5, 1968. The Zeitoun apparitions remain the only photographed Marian apparition in history. In the Vatican, when Pope Paul VI heard of what was happening, he had an envoy sent to Cairo to look into the events, and the report came back to the Pope stating that the events were unexplainable and genuine. After a month of intensive investigation of the events, on May 4, 1968, Pope Kyrillos approved the apparitions, stating that they were supernatural and unexplainable. Even though the Zeitoun apparitions took place over 50 years ago, it is said that it is nearly impossible to find anyone in Cairo who didn't see the Virgin Mary themselves or who knows someone who did. I was very blessed to be able to find one of the millions of witnesses who saw Mother Mary in 1968. So we have here today Mr. Saber. Yeah, Mr. Saber. So Mr. Saber here used to work here in the church when he saw Mother Mary in 1968. So, sir, can you please tell us your experience when you saw Mother Mary here in Zeitoun? What were you doing?
الصوت بتاع ده كان جراج. لكن لما ظهرت العذراء في واحد ناس ديانتهم حتى مسلمة قالوا بس قالوا تكون نفسها تكون نفسها كيف مش في الصورة في نور جامد احلام بتفرق كان حاجه كان زحمه كنت كلها كنت الشارع بتاعها عشان كنت جوه الساعه founded this, I don't know, was there is people and they can tell them so it told all of the people we saw some girl in the out and we can to see you can see to her because she was very nice to you can't see you can see with the light is very clear. You see us it's very strong and there's some looking around here.
It's not just a picture, it's a full body of light.
Full body of light.
Yes.
بالنسبة للناس يعني أول شهور كانت تمارين على العذراء كان المجموعة في الناموس يتربى
تريانتو
كانت أول ما تصل عذراء ذكرتها ليش الناس كلها في ستات من عذراء كانت الناس فرحة people shows the Mary, they were very excited about this and very happy about this. They say something about pray for the good to talking to us. So
كل ده هيتقطع في المونتاج. كل ده هيتقطع في المونتاج.
they bring some machines like I don't know if it's yeah it's good but they
Holy instruments.
little mysteries yes this type of
So, Mr. Saber, how did Saint Mary look like when you saw her? Where were you here when you saw her?
شفتها فين عملتها في الأوروبا yes الأوروبا كبيرة we saw her here this area and same this area yes focus صح؟ It was highlighted when the people saw her again she was very good at us, very like this, very everything. Yeah.
How did Saint Mary look like? Was she wearing white? Was she wearing what clothes was she wearing when you saw her over here?
هو بيقول لك يا عمو لما شفت ماما العذراء وكده كانت لابسه ايه؟
ما كانش لبسها ظاهر زي ما احنا عاملين رسمين كده ازرق وابيض، لا هي كانت كتله من النور، كتله من النور على هيئه ست واقفه ماشيه حوالين
A piece of light, no colors.
No cars. No, there anybody couldn't to see her what she was wearing, because she was very light to coming out of here, inside of here, to all the people.
Too much light.
اللي جوه الصوره بتاعت دلوقتي حاليا فنانين بيحاولوا يظهروا يعملوها
There is some
ازرق لبسها ابيض.
there is some artists try to make it descriptions about her, how she was wearing, about anything. Like we can see it in any movie, do it for Jesus or Mary. It's just try arts.
Many miracles happened for people who came to see the appearance of Virgin Mary. Many miracles happened to them. For 2 years this appearance continued, and they wrote the miracles on the journals, journal Watani, journal Al-Ahram. Many journals make photos of this appearance and make the comments of those people on the journals.
Just like in Lourdes, there were and still are many physical healings here in Zeitoun. The first to be allegedly healed was Farouk Mohammed Atwa during the first apparition on April 2nd, 1968, when his finger, which was due for amputation, was miraculously restored after looking at the Virgin. While the physical healings are plenty here in Zeitoun, the apparition changed the lives of many people and led to numerous conversions and a spiritual revival here in Egypt, especially after the frustration and pain after their defeat in 1967. The Marian Apparitions are believed to have changed the course of Egyptian history, and it's very common to hear stories of conversion, just like Mr. Sabers.
الكنيسه دي كان انا لما اكون راجع شغلي وحصل ان انا متضايق شويه او في مشكله ولا حاجه كنت اقعد في الكنيسه هنا 5 دقايق 10 دقايق ربع ساعه واطلع مفيش حاجه خالص مضايقاني، كل مشاكل عامله معايا حاجات كتير، معجزات كتير يعني كتير. مثلا انا كنت بشرب 4 علب سجاير
He talking about when he was working here. He had some problems in his life. When he had anything, he come into church inside and talking to
Just
Mary.
praying for him
Yes.
and the miracle happened.
Yes, everything is not yes, like
We
it's
have
not
many
happening.
miracles with him.
Yes, and he told us he was smoking more for
boxes.
more of boxes cigarette. But he asked to her, please Mary, help to me. I want to stop with this. And already he now don't take any cigarette.
طبعا جيت تنوع قدام صورتها طلبت منها وعيطت على اساس خلينا بس زي المسلسل فعلا من 93 ما فيش، ما قدرتش احطها خالص.
شافوا كابري
رغم
عندي مش
كانوا
كل ده بحاول
كانوا بيحاولوا يتراهنوا عليا ان
اوكي.
انا بعد ساعه بعد 2 بعد يوم، ولكن هم ما كسبوش الرهان بس، وانا لغايه النهارده ما كنتش بحاجه صغيره.
when he asked to Mary, please Mary to help me to I want to stop any cigarette because I can't do it this. A lot of people told him you can do it this, but already he can do because Mary helped it to him.
This is a big miracle for him.
حاجه ثانيه مريان
I am the miracle.
You can yes you come in the
7 سنين
بس الله يبارك.
قعدنا حوالي 7 سنين نتعالج عرفت نخلف. احنا ما كناش حاطين المبدئين الاول، لكن بعد ما نمشي
Giving
5
first ما كانوش
سنين،
عارفين يجيب first.
بعد 5 سنين
مش
بدأنا
هجيب first.
نمشي يعني
احنا عايزين عقم، كانت ماما عقم لمده 7 سنين، كلمه
قعدنا هو
عقم
كان في حفله
عارف
بتاعت
يعني ايه
الكنيسه
عقم؟
عيد
هفتكر هذاكر
هو
الكلمة دي ليه؟
فجينا واحنا قاعدين كانت معايا المدام فرحت
مش لازم
معيطه
طبعا نرد كل
وبدأت
الرد ده.
اما انا بحاول
اتخانق
اختصر.
مع عذرا انت معايا؟
يا
اتخانق مع عذرا ان انت بتعملي معجزات كتير كل حاجه لكن ما فين معجزه معايا؟ فاحنا قاعدين هنا بنت شابه صغيره فيها داخله لابسه ابيض وكانت ليها حوالي سنتين ما اتحركتش فدخلت كانت جايبينها شايلينها دخلت على الكنيسه وبدات تجري حوالين الكنبه بتاعت الكنيسه
لا مش انا، ده ماما لما لقيت البنت كده قالت لها اديني بقى بنت، فانا جيت بعد 7 سنين.
كمل بقى عشان
فكرة انا برضه جدا. Okay, he talking when he married. He doesn't have any child for 7 years. Yes, and he asked Mary, please Mary, give me any child I want, like all of people you gave it, or Jesus gave it to your son. But this is not, but it's not. But it's not happening. But he came back for Mary and fighting with her. Why you don't give me my order? Yes, but already his wife saw in this moment. So miracle to walk to run away and to running to the inside the in the side church and ordered Mary else, please give me, I want child. And already they have Mary. Its name, yes, yeah. Its name, yes. Her name, his mom,
ميريام
his Mary, yes, child. Just
البنت لما كانت بتجري الفستان بتاعها بيه كله زيت كله اتغير زيت
البنت دي
فالناس
كانت هاند كاب وبعدين بقت بترن، يعني هي كانت جايه هاند كاب on a wheelchair and a miracle happened وبعدين she was running all over the chair.
yes.
لما
The miracle which
المدام
my-
شافت
which my
الحكايه دي
mother saw.
بدات تحير تتخانق مع العذراء هناك انت ما بتعمليش اعملي معايا يعني عتاب شديد لله
Yeah.
بدا ربنا كنا كشفنا الدكتور قال لك اديني انت ليك كام سنه؟ قلت له 7 قال اديني 7 شهور بس وكان كاتب لها علاج في شهرها قبل ما تاخد العلاج كانت
الحاجات دي مش هنترجمها.
مش عارفة. Okay, he talking about something happened with Mary when he married and when his problem in his life when with her wife with his colleagues in the work and Mary stand with him in anything. Yeah.
Very big miracle. Yes.
خلاص
I still have
So what I'm getting from the testimony of Mr. Saber is that when he saw her over here, walking back and forth. Am I right? Walking back and forth over here by the domes of the church. But he saw her as a figure of light, figure of all life only. And since that time, Mother Mary has worked a lot of miracles for him, including, his daughter who's here, but she's a little bit shy to be seen on video, but her name is also Marian. So, that's a testimony of his life, of what Mother Mary, what Saint Mary did in his life, and the effect of the apparition that it had in just one of the many millions of people who saw her here in Zeitoun. So this new basilica built here across the original church of Saint Mary. You can't see it because there's a wall now, but this was the original site where the Muslim, I believe his name is Farouk Mohammed Atwa, where the public transportation garage was here, and there were a bunch of Muslim mechanics. One of them, Farouk Mohammed Atwa, and he first saw the Blessed Mother on the roof of the dome of St. Mary's Coptic Orthodox Church. Now, what's very interesting is that the president at the time, Gamal Abdel Nasser, when he saw the Blessed Mother, she smiled at him, and that smile of hers really changed him. So because at that time, Egypt just lost from the Six-Day War, as I just related earlier. And the Muslims here were feeling very depressed. The attitudes towards the Christians, especially towards the Coptic Christians, weren't very favorable. Okay, so they were being targeted to the point where Islamic extremists were painting red crosses on their doors of the homes. And it was even a fact that the president at the time, because he was very good friends, very good relations with the Soviet Union, and wanted to turn Egypt into a Marxist state. But after seeing the Blessed Mother on top of the dome here, he sought better relations with the Christians. The attitudes of Muslims towards the Christians became better, and Gamal Abdel Nasser went so far as to donate this land where they built this beautiful basilica in honor of the apparition. So the land was donated in 1976, and the church was finished being built in 1989. So that that's the story of how President Nasser, sort of converted in a way. The apparitions had its fair share of skeptics, as the authorities who believed that the event was either the product of mass hysteria or even someone trying to play tricks by projecting lights over the church. The problem with these theories are that during the 1960s, Cairo had no high skyscrapers. Civil authorities even cut the power within the church vicinity and as far away as 16 kilometers, to the point that half of Cairo had no electricity. And yet, the so-called lights were still showing themselves over and above the church. Some scientists have even suggested that the light displays might be a product of tectonic activity in the area. Many of these theories were suggested, but none could give a definite answer as to what was causing the lights, or even the manifestation of the live and moving figure of the Blessed Virgin. A characteristic about this Marian apparition was that witnesses recall Mary often holding an olive branch, a symbol of peace that then, like now, was so desperately needed in the Middle East. She was seen to either bless the crowds, or bow in front of a cross, or even just simply walk across the church domes. Another notable characteristic which preceded the apparitions was the unusual flight of luminous doves, which usually hovered over the church domes and would mysteriously appear and disappear. Unlike in other places where the Blessed Mother appeared, in Zeitoun, she didn't utter a single word, and with good reason. So why was the Blessed Mother silent during this time? Witnesses of the event and commentators have interpreted this absence of a spoken message as a gesture of motherly tenderness towards her children of all faiths who were there to see her. For instance, had she declared herself to be the Mother of God, the Muslims, who don't exactly believe in Christ's divinity, would probably have turned their backs on the vision and maybe caused conflict with Christian onlookers. At the same time, had she identified herself as the Immaculate Conception, the Coptic Church, who believed that Mary was sanctified only at the time of the Annunciation, might have encountered difficulty in fully accepting her. As it was, the Blessed Mother here in Zeitoun maintained an attitude of prayer throughout these apparitions, as if prompting everyone present, regardless of their beliefs, to unite in God through prayer. Dr. Noshi, just one last question.
Yeah.
What do you think the reason was that Mother Mary, that Saint Mary came here to Zeitoun? Why did she come here?
Yeah, some problem with Israel in 1967, and the people here have a lot of sad. They were sad. So Saint Mary came and appears above the church to give the blessing for the people in Egypt. and gives them the force to return to and the problem now with Israel will solve it, and no problem with Israel now.
So why do you think Saint Mary came here to Zeitoun?
ليه تفتكر العذراء جت هنا؟ اشمعنى الزيتون كمان؟
Why do you think?
أولا الزيتون الكنيسة دي كان بيبقى فيها 5 تنفار 7 تنفار 10 تنفار كتير، كان ما يزيدش عن كده، يعني 10 15 كانت بتبقى فاضية كلها. فزي ما تقول العذراء يعني صعب عليها ازاي ما تجيش كنيستي والناس ما تجيش، فبدأت تظهر كبركة. يكون هنا حدود 10,000 مصلي، 10,000 مصلي بيجوا كل عيد، كل فوق هنا الكنيسة كلها مباركة كده.
Okay, he said when this building is building, there a lot of people came here, coming here, sorry, and maybe he thinks in Mary was sad about this happening, and yes, because
4 or 5 people only who
yes, why?
are praying the mass.
Yes, why? But when this when this event is happening in here, this area, a lot of the people in the world, like you are not native in this country, came to see this church.
And they built a very big church instead of the parking. It was parking.
Yes.
It was donated by President Nasser, right?
Yes, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Related to the government.
Yes.
And they give it to us very smoothly.
But
and
the
very
church is
easy.
payment from the government.
Very
Sorry.
smoothly and very easy.
Yeah.
الفكرة ده مكتوب في
أنا عارف مكتوب بس محدش بيقرا في البلد يا عم، لكن ده كله هيشوف. Okay, it's enough.
Yes, thank you for your time, Mr. Saber. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time. So I just wanted to say that there is an incredibly powerful message which Our Lady of Zeitoun wishes to impart on us. So this Marian apparition in particular, which occurred not even too long ago, still has a significant relevance for today. So a notable characteristic about this Marian apparition was that Our Lady was seen holding an olive branch, as I mentioned earlier, which is a symbol for peace, which then, like now, was desperately much needed here in the Middle East and in North Africa. So instead of a speech, Our Lady communicated with gestures. So at times she was seen praying, at other times she was bowing and kneeling in front of the cross on the dome of the church. At other times she was seen blessing the people down below, really just merely to encourage them in their bitter struggles with poverty and war. Our Lady of Zeitoun reminds me of a painting that I saw in a book which I bought entitled Blessed Art Thou. And in it there is a painting of Mary wearing both the Jewish prayer shawl and the Palestinian scarf, one on each shoulder. So she is dressed in black and white to show the complementary opposites, and cradles in her arms a dove holding the olive branch of peace, which is an image very similar to the one in the apparitions here in Zeitoun. So Mary here in Zeitoun comes as a reconciler, right? For the warring nations and hostile cultures, especially now what is happening in Gaza and Israel, right? She teaches us how to disarm our hearts and abandon our resentments. So it's no surprising that here in Zeitoun, she is known as the Queen of Peace. So Mary's silence is an invitation for us to reflect on her love for us. She comes as a mother in a nation here like Egypt, where both Christians and Muslims and even Jews and other religions, people from other religions, live side to side. In light of the current situation between Israel and Palestine and Gaza, I don't want to get too political, but regardless of your stance and where you stand or what you believe about this current war, bottom line is, Our Lady calls for peace. War is senseless, and Our Lady continues to wave out her olive branch even today. Not in the domes of Zeitoun, but everywhere in the world today. Remember, Mary was both a Palestinian and a Jew, and her heart racks with sorrow with what is currently happening. So when you open your TV today, or scroll through your social media feed, or even read the newspaper, or hear word of what is happening here in the Middle East, turn your gaze to Our Lady of Zeitoun and ask Mary to bring us peace. If we only ask her with sincere hearts and open hearts, she will help us obtain it from God. So let us close this episode with a prayer to Our Lady of Light of Zeitoun. Immaculate Virgin, you who accepted the light of the Holy Spirit and who has become the home of the living God, Mother of Light, watch over your children, especially those who have followed your Son and have been persecuted. We pray that the world gives attention to truth and justice. Take away men's hearts of stone, which makes them killers in the name of religion. Let your light illuminate us all. Amen.